What up? What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to Blood Splatter Chatter. We're talking about a super fun one tonight. We're doing Ty West's X. And we are back again. I got Stu with me. We're talking X tonight. Stoked to do this one. This one came out in 2022. I just did a 2022 movie last week, but it was a great year in horror. These were, I think, two of the standout films. So what up, brother? Thank you for being here.
What up, man? Yeah, I'm glad to be here. This was one I heard about, much talked about. Like, I'm a horror noob. I'm getting into it, and this is one of the great things I love about being a part of your show. But yeah, I was stoked to finally sit down and watch this one, and it did not let me down.
Hell yeah, man!
It was fun.
I'm really excited. Not only have you had never seen X, but you've obviously never seen Pearl. So I'm telling you right now, depending on what you have to say about this flick, which I'm already getting the vibe that you liked it, we're probably covering Pearl together at one point in the future.
If you got to, yeah.
So this one, again, written, directed, produced by Ty West. This is an A24 flick starring Mia Goth, Jenna Ortega, Brittany Snow, Kid Cudi, Stephen Ure, Martin Henderson, and Owen Campbell. It's cool. Like, looking at it now, it's like this is a star-studded cast, but even just a couple years ago when it came out, it wasn't quite as star-studded as it is now, as it was then. Like Jenna Ortega, she was already like becoming a pretty famous person, but clearly she's blown up since then. And then same with Mia Goth. Like, she's going to be in the MCU pretty soon. But we're going to get into the characters and all that in just a little bit. But my homie, what was your overall thoughts first time watching this flick? What did you think, dude?
Overall, I love it, man. I thought it was fantastic. I thought it was, I love, like I said, I'm not that much of a horror expert, but I love the nods to like classic horror here in the late 70s in Texas, and just the way it built up suspense. I thought it was very believable.
Mm-hmm.
I love the sexual element of it. I thought that was like such a nice intertwining of themes, and the cinematography was brilliant also, from the starting shot outwards. Like, we had the police car in the center, and then it slowly moves out from the barn or whatever, and the cop car's on the side, and there was just so many great shots throughout this movie. Mia Goth in the lake, the overhead shot with the gator, like
the one where she's like, it's a side profile shot where just her face is out of the water. And even just like the look of her blue eyeshadow there with the freckles on her face, like, it's just something about it, like, makes it pop, makes it look even cooler. And her freckles, like, those aren't real, I don't think. I think they put those freckles on her face, I'm pretty sure.
It felt like that. Like, I was wondering if they were real or not too, but also it felt like so not only real, but like specific to that era in that same way. You know what I mean? Like, it felt like what a 70s willing to risk it all porn star would be doing.
Right.
But man, yeah, I thought it had so many great elements. It was fantastic, dude. I thoroughly enjoyed this one.
That is awesome because it's pretty divisive. I mean, we talked about, I feel like I'm overusing the word divisive because I said it so much about Jordan Peele's Nope last week. But it's true. It's like, if you look, I'm in a lot of like horror Facebook groups and whatnot, and it's one of those movies. Like, so many people just love it, think it's brilliant, appreciate it for what it is, and there's a lot of people that, and I can understand this, that just think this is boring. Like, where are the kills? And we talked about it a little bit ahead of time. There's no real horror. There's not a kill in this slasher movie until the 59-minute mark, which to me is like impressive. We kind of also said this. It surprises me. Like, the first kill comes, you're like, oh shit, there's been horror. There's been no horror in this movie up until this point, other than a little bit of suspense here and there. But there's no kills, and I can see why people would be bored of it. But I look at it as like, this is the first, people hate this phrase. Yeah, this is the first like elevated slasher movie that I think has ever been made, or at least that I've become aware of. There's a lot of elevated psychological, thrillers and a lot of the stuff that A24 does, but they took like the schlockiest of horror subgenres and they elevated it in this flick. But a big part of that is just the acting and the cast that they got for the thing. So let's get into that a little bit. We already ran through the cast earlier. Is this, because it was for me, was this your introduction to Mia Goth as an actress, and what did you think of her?
Yes, it was, and she was amazing, man. I was floored by her performance. Just from the beginning, I got cosmopolitan tastes in the convenience store. I just love how her character got established like that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I love the development throughout her arc, everything. I thought she was absolutely brilliant. A force of nature, and I can see why she's the new horror queen. I mean,
Right.
rightly crowned in my opinion. From my little menial knowledge, I think she's a
Right.
beast.
Well, I mean, she's another one. I hate to always bring up the negative of it, but there's also if you're loved by that many people and your star is rising the way that hers is, there's also all these haters out there. The biggest complaint that I hear is people just can't stand her voice. And it's like I can kind of get that. There's one point where her and Jenna Ortega are just screaming back and forth at each other in these southern accents, and it's like, but I think she's fucking incredible. She's beautiful
Yeah,
in a non classical way.
she
She's got this
is
really
very much
unique
so.
look. Ty West, I saw
Yeah.
an interview with him, and he just talked about her being like, you give her a scene and she's just so unpredictable. Like he's always like shocked at the way that she attacked the dialogue that he gave her. Looking at her filmography that she's had so far, you can tell like she's got to be a horror fan. It looks like her goal is to be the greatest scream queen of all time. She's setting up a beautiful resume. Obviously, she did Pearl after this, which is the prequel, which we'll touch on at the end just briefly. She's got Maxine coming out, which is the third in the trilogy. She did Infinity
Oh,
Pool
hell yeah.
by Brandon Cronenberg, which was incredible. She played a smaller role in the Suspiria remake, which I loved. And there's this other flick that one of these days I've got to get around to check it out called Marrowbone. It's got her in it. It's got Anya Taylor-Joy, and it's got the one kid from Stranger Things, Charlie Heaton. Jenna Ortega. Let's talk about her next, and she's become the biggest name. She doesn't have the biggest role in this
Church
movie.
mouse.
Yeah, I kind of look at this as you see you've got all these child stars, and once they get to a certain age, they'll do this risque role where they've got their breasts out or they do something crazy on screen that makes you think of them as an adult. She did this, and it's like she's trying to do that. Then right after, she did Wednesday, which put her right back into a child, is the way I view her, you know what I mean? But what did you think of her in this
Well,
film?
dude, well, like on that note, like, can we comment on the fact that Brittany Snow and I'm not trying to say one thing or the other, but Brittany Snow and Mia Goth fully committed to their roles,
Oh,
and like
yeah.
hers was like, we got the camera reflection. Give me a fucking break. For
Right.
all right, I'm not. I thought her character arc was brilliant, and I loved certain aspects of her performance. I love the look on her face during Mia Goth's porn scene when she's just like she's transformed, really,
Yeah.
and she's like basically shaking, like holding the mic. It was amazing, but at the
Mhm.
same time, dude, if we're gonna go all the way, I felt like we should have gone all the way physically. Like, I'm not saying that just as a blanket statement, but to this movie, like
Right.
we had already had those other two scenes established with with the porn thing. I think it would have been, especially given the fact that she's going to do a scene and she's not a porn actress and
Right.
she's just there to help out her boyfriend. It would have been like how it was the turning point in the movie, more or
Right.
less.
Oh, I mean, that's definitely
I
that's a scene I wanna highlight. To me,
but
that's one of my favorite scenes of the movie, just one of my favorite scenes, like, later on when she says that she wants to be in the film, which again, we'll highlight. As far as I the first time I saw the movie, I was like, "Holy shit," because everything I know her from, she's like a kid. So at
yeah,
that point, I was like, "What the fuck?" Like, you know her as an adult. She's like 22, 23, whatever now, but I don't know. At the time, I was glad that they cut away. I was like, "Holy shit, I can't believe this actress is about to do that." And then it's another thing where she's the perfect casting because she's so cute
he is.
looking. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? She's not I don't look at
And
her and
Church
think
Mouse
like,
was brilliant. Like that
yeah,
was just a brilliant nickname. I love that, and
exactly.
I love how like they kept bringing that up. They kept reminding you of that.
There's like
Yeah.
nothing sexy about Jenna Ortega to me, but she's cute as a bug. Martin Henderson, I really love him in the movie. He's the main
From
producer.
the classic Torque with Ice Cube. It was a horrible like biker. If bikers were Fast and the Furious, it was awful. Yeah, I remember going to see that with my brother way back in the day.
What I know him from, or what a lot of horror fans might remember him from, but only if they looked into it, because you're never going to realize it's the same dude from this performance. But he's the boyfriend in The Ring. Yeah,
He is.
isn't that wild?
Yeah, that is wild. Nice.
He's good. To me, he's
He's
really funny in the movie,
fantastic.
man.
Fantastic, dude. Yeah, I just love that scene, like after Mia Goth's porn performance or whatever, and she's like, "Yeah, I see now why Wayne left his wife for you," or whatever. I just love that. I love that little bit of context.
Kid
But
Cudi's
yeah,
like, "So do I." Which speaking of him, the first time I saw the movie, I had no idea that that was Kid Cudi. but pretty impressive. I'm more
Yeah,
impressed
he
with
did a
him
great
even.
job. I think he's a great actor. I think he should keep acting. Yeah.
And then we'll just highlight Brittany Snow, just because there's another one that I don't know. I've never seen the Pitch Perfect movies, but she obviously took that skill she has. And the moment, again, that we'll touch on later, where they sing Landslide from Fleetwood Mac, she crushes it in that moment. She crushes it throughout the whole movie. Like, she's an, oh, I'm surprised that she came from the franchise that she did, and then to commit to the role in the way that she did. It was rather hot and rather impressive.
She killed it. She was, to me, like the most powerful performance. Besides, of course, Mia was amazing, but like Brittany Snow she was nothing to sneeze at here. I thought she really brought it from the beginning, especially in that first act. I felt like she carried a lot of that weight. In the car ride, at the convenience
Yeah.
store, and I'm gonna call my agent. I only smoke old golds. Like, I just love all those little bits of her character that got established. But yeah, I love when she has like that conversation with Jenna Ortega, and she's like, "You help him out with this movie?" She's like, "Yeah, sometimes." She's just like, "Is that your boyfriend?" She's like, "Yeah, sometimes."
Yeah,
And
I
I
like
just,
that too.
yeah,
Well, I
uh,
also like that little this they put the little scene in there to make her a little more three-dimensional where she's giving RJ, she's giving the cinematographer little tips. Like if you shoot it this from this angle, it look
yeah,
like he's
yeah,
filling up the
yeah.
tank with his dick. It's
Great
fucking
call. I
brilliant.
forgot about that. Yeah, man,
She
it's
knows her way
awesome.
around a penis. But did you, and this is the first time I saw the movie once again, I guess I'm going to say that a lot this episode. Did you know that Pearl was also Mia Goth? Did you know that going in? Did you realize it during the
I
movie? Or
did know that going in. I had read that somewhere, like reading about her performances in this or something. I had some vague idea, and like, but I kept, dude. I had to work for it though. Like watching this, I'm like, am I sure that's her? Like,
right?
because it was fantastic, man.
For me, I remember the
She
first
was so
time like
creepy.
just telling that there was something off about the old people. They did a good job in the makeup department, but they're a little like slimier than they should be. And even the way that they're shooting them, they're trying to hide something a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Like from the first shot of Howard, it's like behind him walking out, with the gun or whatever, and then you see Kid Cudi's view or whatever from the van, and he's just like, "Damn, that is one ugly mother."
Yeah.
It's great.
I love the way that she's like, Britney Spears, like, "Oh, come on," and just the way they cut. It's a really stupid thing to even point out, but afterwards, he's like, "What? He is." Just the way he says that, it's like that's a well delivered line. Like, yeah, fucker, he is pretty ugly. But yeah, man, it's a good cast, and I like them more each time. I think all of them get just enough. There's no one that seems like they were kind of left
Yes.
out. Everyone's got something there, and they all add something to the plot, to the theme. Two of Ty West's more popular films that he put out before this are Innkeepers and House of the Devil. I've checked them out and they're so similar where like nothing happens. Like nothing happens for a long, long time. It's just all suspense building in his films for like an hour. But I feel like in this one, he really did a better job of like adding in like funny bits and character moments and a little bit of more suspense and like actually like making you feel some of the stakes. Even seeing that dead cow, like the way that dead cow is
Yeah.
just exploded. Like I think the film needed that just to show you a little gore. It's like, oh, this is the type of movie that we're in for. Again, another thing that I hear some people complain about is the porn that they shoot in the movie, The Farmer's Daughter, that they intercut into the film. And as we've mentioned, Mia Goth and Brittany Snow fully go for it. Kid Cudi, we don't, that could be a complaint. Maybe we should have seen some more of Kid Cudi since he's the male porn star in the movie, and we really don't see. We see glimpses of shadows of his dong. Not that I'm saying I needed it, but you could say there's an argument to be made that they should have shown what he's got if they're going to show so much of Brittany Snow and Mia Goth. But I mean, it's just something that I think it works for the movie. It's
Oh yeah.
required for the movie, so I don't find it to be trashy. What did you think of it?
No, I thought it was great. I thought it was definitely required for the movie though, especially the scene where like Pearl sees Maxine. That was heavy, and that definitely like moved things forward. At that point, Pearl was like a cat in heat. It was on. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so I definitely think it served the story well. And like you said, they used it well with the cutscenes.
Right.
And I loved how, not to get too far ahead, but how they tied it. And at the end, when they found the camera, they're like, "What do you think's on it?" And he's like, "Probably a goddamn horror show." I was just cracking up, thinking like, it's the farthest thing from
That's
that, really.
not what you're gonna see. Yeah, exactly. Um, uh, Yeah, I mean, what else is to say other than that it was hot and it was funny too. Like I liked the aesthetic of it, the way it looked. You know what I mean? And plus, even the idea of they mentioned it in the movie, but like this was happening out there. This is the beginning of the VHS boom. This is the first time that you can make porn for people that aren't just perverts, for people that aren't going to go into a movie theater, sit down next to Pee Wee Herman and masturbate. You know what I mean? So that's like a big fucking it's a big deal. And there was a lot of people making money at that time. And it's another thing that just kind of makes me appreciate Wayne. He's got a vision. He's seeing a route to make money, and he's being maybe a little bit greedy, but he's also not. None of them deserve to be killed, which is what we get in a lot of slasher movies.
Yeah, for
Like
sure.
none of them, I would say, none of them are really bad people. They're all trying to do the right thing.
Yeah.
They might be perceived, and this is what's so cool about the movie. In other horror movies, they all deserve to die. You know what I mean? They're sexual deviants, they're taking drugs, they're sex before marriage, all sorts of shit. But in this one, even Mia Goth at the end, she's the final girl, and I know we'll touch on it. She drives away fucking snorting cocaine just to like kind of put a twist on the final girl in the Jamie Lee Curtis version of the final girl.
It's interesting how like they all get drawn out of the house like helping people. You know what I mean?
Right,
Like
right.
Wayne and Jenna Ortega's character are leaving to try to find the ex boyfriend, and that's how that all goes. Like he's the only one really being selfish, and but everybody else is trying to help. Even Brittany Snow is out there putting the robe on Pearl and all that.
Bitch.
And Kid Cudi goes out trying to be a Marine.
Oh shit.
I got to touch on my favorite scene, the landslide bit. I already touched on it a little bit, but the way that they set it up, where Jenna Ortega's character, she's been the one that we're at least supposed to perceive her as being the most judgmental, and she's the one that's most uncomfortable around all this sexuality. Brittany Snow sings Landslide while Kid Cudi plays it on the guitar. It's fucking beautiful. They're using split screen very nicely, and they're intercutting it with Pearl and Howard, the old folks, making sweet, sweet old folk love over the top of the whole thing. And then afterwards, after this beautiful song, we get like 5 seconds of silence. And Jenna Ortega just says, "I want to be in the movie." And her boyfriend's reaction to that is so perfect because he's just set up the idea. It's like, well, it's all about free love. You just don't understand it. And these people are open with their sexuality. They're confident in who they are. But it's like, but not you. You can't be because I'm not confident in who I am. But to me, it's so interesting and it's so engaging. And it's like something you don't see this in slashers. This deep of an idea being discussed. But what did
Yeah,
you
it's
think of this,
great.
dude?
It's great. I love it. He's like, Wayne, you gotta back me up in there. Like when he takes him outside.
You see
And then
Wayne
he's
thinking like,
like,
first of all, I want to see her naked and I want to make more money. You know that's what he's thinking.
yeah. And
Both.
then he's trying to separate he's trying to like class the girls out. He's like, mine's not like yours or whatever. And Wayne's like, let me tell you something, man. They're all bad girls. Like I love that. I love that line and
Right.
how he kind of leaves him with that. But yeah, I agree. It was a great little scene.
Sorry about me, ma'am, but my van broke down on the highway back yonder, and I was hoping I could use y'all's phone to call for help.
The cinematographer, the filmmaker, he is trying to make elevated porn. Pretty much is what he's doing. He's like, there could be cinema behind this unrespected area of cinema. And it's the same thing. This is an elevated slasher movie. As I said, one of the least respected genres of film or subgenres, period. And we're trying to make elevated porn. We're trying to make elevated horror, pretty much. I just thought that was a cool comment on what they were doing. And then Ty West, it's a big part of why he wanted to make this movie.
So I wanted to make a movie where the characters in the movie were making a movie to kind of invite you in to kind of be charmed by what it takes to make a movie. And if I could do that, then I could also give the audience kind of a crash course in what I'm doing in the movie. And so if I could make something that really kind of like put the craft of filmmaking into the story in a way that was charming and that would hopefully make people like think movies are cool, that seemed worthwhile.
I feel like calling a horror film was kind of a disservice because it's such a great suspense thriller as well. And I feel like part of him maybe wants to make just a complete suspense thriller or some
Right.
some form of that. But the horror moments weren't as great as I thought they would be. I thought the more impressive kind of part of the movie was the first half to me.
I agree, and that's what I want to get into next. Is all the kills, or we don't gotta get into all of them, but the kills and the final act of the film. What's cool about it is it's like bam, 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 bam. We've got 35 minutes left or 40 minutes once the kills come, and we just get all the kills, all the characters die in the movie that are gonna die in that chunk of time. That's kind of the issue with his other films, or at least The Innkeepers, the one I watched last night for the first time. There's all the suspense and build up, and it's kind of like a movie like The Blair Witch, where it's all suspense and build up, and then you just get this little bit at the end just to cling on to. And I feel like that's his mistake in his older movies, and he fixed it in this one. It's like, you're right. I'm not super impressed by any of the kills in particular, although there is highlight moments where it's like, ugh, you know what I mean?
I like the first one. I like the one on the boyfriend. I felt like a release for Pearl in a way. You know what I mean? And I love
the audience.
I love her dancing after it. Yeah, you're right. And the "Don't Fear the Reaper" on the radio, that was epic. Like, that was really great. Well done. And then she took the keys, so it's like a fucked up and hopeless situation, at least for a little bit.
That is one of my favorite. This is one of my fucking favorite kills, period. It's so brutal. It's so gnarly. And we hadn't seen any kills up in the movie up till that point. The only gore we'd seen, as I said, is that cow. But you're just not prepared for how gory it gets. And the way I just fucking love, as you said, "Don't Fear the Reaper" is playing. She's stabbing him in the neck, and the way that the blood squirts out and covers the headlight, and now everything is lit in red. And she looks crazy. Just like as she keeps stabbing him, gets up and dances afterwards. It's like, what the hell am I?
And then we get that little different piece of music, and then the radio comes back in, and it was great, man. That was one of the highlights. The one with Wayne almost felt like an homage to so many different things. You know what I mean?
I felt like
we just talked about Zombie. There was like elements of that. I felt like, especially with the eye. But what did you feel like? You're better versed than I am.
First of all, you sound like a fucking horror aficionado dropping Lucio Fulci eye references. So you got this. You've won him over. But to me, what it reminded me of stylistically and with like the way it was edited is just a late 80s Friday the 13th, like, you know what I mean? They never lingered on anything in those Friday the 13th movies, at least that we got to see in the final cut. And to me, that's what it was. But it was also like, it left me feeling the same way that I feel after a lot of those Friday the 13th kills, where it's like, it was too quick. It were in and out. They did, if you remember how they do it, they stab him with the pitchfork in the eye, and then they cut away to another scene, and we get some other action. And then it cuts back like a few minutes later, and it's pulling out, and you get a little bit of like the eye popping out, a little bit of gore there. So it was the editing in the movie, while we're on the topic, was fucking awesome. They cut to Mia Goth swimming in the pond, and it's like flash, flash, flash. It like shows that scene and goes back to where it was like a few times, and it's like so like attention catching. You know what I mean? You're like, oh shit, like that with an edit like that, something's about to happen. You know what I mean? It really was a cool way to build the suspense.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, and you just, there's like so many things throughout, like little suspense builders. Like, you just knew something was off with Howard from the jump. Pearl in the window. I don't think I love that comment when I don't think I like you, Wayne, or whatever, when when he gets them settled in the boarding house or whatever.
Matter of fact, I don't think I like any of you very much. Yeah. Well, we really didn't touch on. I almost expected to get a IG message from you at one point in the film to be like, bro, what the fuck are you doing to me? I hate you. Because going into this movie, I never expected to see old people having sex on film.
That was wild.
You know what I mean? But it's so disgusting. What did you think of it, man? What did you think? How did it make you feel? Were you hard? I just really want to know. Were you?
No, not at all. It's gross, but at the same time, it felt like a natural evolution and progression for those two characters. You know what I mean? And I love that afterwards when Maxine heard him talking and Pearl said, "It doesn't matter, we have each other." I just love like that was like they reconnected, over all that violence and bloodshed. Yeah, it was terrifying and horrifying, and I love that Maxine had to slide out from under the bed and all that. That was great,
right.
But, yeah.
Well, the way that Pearl words it there, she says like, "We have each other now," as if they didn't. Like that is the really
Yeah,
emphasizing that
that's
we needed that to reconnect us, and now we're on the same page again.
and it makes you wonder also. Okay, this is one of the scenes I wanted to shout out.
Mhm.
When you find out that there's been another guy that they had and they tied him up in the basement and they basically been using him like a sex slave, it looks like, you know.
I don't know. They've got his penis out, so yeah,
Yeah,
it probably
it
could.
looks
Yeah,
like Pearl probably had some fun with him before they decided to. But I love directly after after Jenna Ortega finds that character, Kid Cudi's at the refrigerator and he takes out the milk carton
yep,
and the dude's on missing on
yeah.
the side of it. I thought that was so brilliant. I love
I
that
did too. When
little
they were at
scene.
the gas station earlier, they point out something because they keep on just dropping like little hints about the economy, and they're like, "Well, part of the reason why we're filming here is because they just raised the property taxes on these people. So a dollar goes a long way out here. Look at all these people that need help or that are looking for work." And he points to like this work board at the gas
Oh yeah,
station.
yeah, yeah.
If you look at that, there's missing people posters or flyers all over that too. So I assume that they've been doing this for a while. He's not the first person to end up in that basement with his penis out. You know what
No.
I mean? But another moment just to highlight before we grade this thing is when Jenna Ortega gets her hand smashed with whatever he hits her with. I think it's the back end of an axe or something. That to me is so visceral. We've said it on this show a bunch of times, but anything with teeth, eyes, nails, fingernails, or hands, there's something we feel that in a different way. Like these are our feelers. You know what I mean? If someone gets their hands fucked up, it's like,
Yeah.
ugh.
Yeah, that was
That
brutal.
got me.
Yeah, that was brutal. And I love how they kind of used the doorway, her kind of in the doorway, you know, from The Shining, obviously, in like the
Yeah.
reverse manner. And I love how her character was completely broken down at the end. She's like, "This is
Yeah.
all your fault." And she's not, you know, the ambitious, you know, try something new girl that we once
Yeah,
knew.
she regretted that real quick.
It was great. It
She was
was great. I
I mean,
love that.
it was almost a little
And then
like
she just runs out the door into a shotgun blast.
right. It was great to set that up, to get that moment, but it did feel a little bit of a stretch for me. You've if I had went through what she had been going through and you came and you snuck me out, I would shut the fuck up and we would sneak out of there. I wouldn't. Mia Goth's like, be quiet. She's like, don't tell me to be quiet. It's like, no, yeah, obviously you should be quiet. Like, shut up, relax, calm
Seriously.
down. But I mean,
Yeah,
they
absolutely.
needed to. It worked for what we got, and it's comical as hell when she gets killed with a shotgun. Again, you don't feel she deserved it. You don't feel any of these people deserved it, but I did laugh. Just the same way I laugh when Pearl turns a shotgun and blows herself out the door. So let's talk about that. How do you like the end of the film? Mia Goth, who's done nothing that a classical final girl would do in this movie. She's done the opposite of all that. Kills Pearl, takes off, and then we're led to believe that, or not led to believe, she's definitely that character is going to be in the sequel that's coming up at some point in 2024. There's no release date yet. It's set in the 80s. I know that Kevin Bacon is in it, and
What?
a handful of other people that I was like, oh, hot damn. The God, I
Oh
could never
yeah.
pronounce the guy's name. The one dude from Breaking Bad and the Mandalorian, the bad guy in the Mandalorian.
Oh
Gianna.
uh
I don't-
Giancarlo Esposito.
Yes, sir. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's in here. I've got it right here. Halsey is in the thing. Elena
Okay.
Bonham. I don't know if you know her by name, but she's one of the bad female character in the Harry Potter franchise.
Yeah, Tim Burton's ex-wife. Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah. I know what
okay.
you're talking about.
Okay.
I killed Sirius Black.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you think of the ending, man? The way it finishes off.
I thought it was solid, dude. I loved their like I thought it was very believable. I thought
Mhm.
you know, they obviously, like you said, you could tell it wasn't the first time they had done this because they kept asking, "You think anybody's going to come for him? Anybody's going to miss him?" Um, you know, I like how she just got nastier and nastier as she revealed more and more of her character. Um, I like how, you know, Howard eventually had his heart attack.
Yeah.
You know, and she got out of there and ended up like, I love how she ended up rolling over her head, you know,
Me
and
too.
it's just, this will just be our little secret was a great line.
Right.
Such a great line. Um, I just loved her character, and I loved how she repeated that mantra.
I will not accept A life I do not deserve.
You could tell like her character had been through some severe stress and was holding on to like some of these mantras, these words to live by. Like,
Did you catch? I mean, I guess it is laid on pretty obviously. The fact that the preacher is Maxine's dad, the guy that you've been seeing on TV. If you looked away, you might not have noticed it. He's basically saying like she's out there now, she's running wild, and this is for her. Like the preacher is Maxine's dad.
oh, dude, I completely missed that.
Yeah, they mentioned it right at the end when it flashes to the TV for the last time. He says that. But I just love the super wide angle. Maxine's in the truck. That's so symbolic of her not just smoking weed heading out, but our final girl who's not, as I said, is so unstereotypical of her to be snorting coke and to head out and she wins. It's like way to flip it on your head, flip the subgenre on its head. But
yeah, absolutely. And you could tell like that's the part where I say you could tell that they were setting up for more, just like the you are me, and I don't know, and how she was kind of she felt kind of justified riding out like after that. Yeah, it definitely felt like we're on to a new chapter.
Well, I would definitely recommend checking this bad boy out whenever you can. It's there's a lot of people like my wife. She loves this one. She liked X, and she thought it was okay. She was really grossed out by the old people stuff, but she likes this a million times more. And there's a lot of people that do. I prefer X as a film, but this is very different. They originally wanted to shoot it in black and white, but A24 said, "Well, let's not do that." So they went like this Technicolor route, where it's kind of an homage to The Wizard of Oz in a lot of ways. It's very bright, very Wizard of Ozzy. It takes place
That's
in the
sick,
40s
dude.
with the music and everything. And Pearl, again, played by Mia Goth as well, she's the main character in that movie. So it's kind of like it's not the greatest example, but like an American Psycho type thing where the main character is your serial killer that you're following through the story. But it's really good, man. But I can't wait for Maxine.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, dude.
let's do it then. Let's wrap this bad boy up. What is your letter grade? Final thoughts on X?
Man, definite A for this one. This one was awesome. I thought a great film, great pacing, great cast, great performances really from everybody. I thought everybody brought it. Um yeah, Mia Goth really just, drew her line in the sand, I think, for sure. But yeah, I thought just an overall fantastic story. I thought it really set the mood, the time well. Thought it was a great homage to past horror films.
Great.
Like I said, the kills weren't like everything to me, but yeah, this was great, man. I was glad to finally get around to watching this and being able to talk about it with you. So thank you. Yeah, we got to do Pearl.
Definitely.
Um,
Definitely.
and
My
yeah,
plan is
I'm
I would like
excited to hear that there's going to be a third film, and we got Kevin Bacon and all that good stuff.
right. I know, man. I hope he plays a significant role in it. I would assume he is, but he's like 5th or 6th on the list here. But I don't think that matters before the film has come out. I'm right there with you, man. I think this is actually the 3rd time I've reviewed this. We talked about it on DHS when it came out. I think I gave it like a 4.5 out of 5 or something like that. When we did it, I did this with Fable on Instagram, just to like get me rolling in this reviewing horror films. I think I gave it a 5 then. I was just like, fuck, this is perfect. For some reason, I'm gonna dip it back just a little bit. I'm right there with you. I'm gonna give it an A. It's not perfect because the kills could have been cooler. Like
They could have been, especially after the first one.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
first
You're
one
right.
I set the bar like super high, and I
Wait.
don't felt like we ever got anywhere remotely near thereafter. But
No, definitely, dude. But what they do is they make for an exciting, fun, fast-paced finish to the flick. But yeah, that could have been better. Overall, I think it's one of the best slasher films of all time, and you almost can't compare it to any slasher film that's ever came before it. I'm sure someone will be like, "Oh, you've never seen this. It's kind of like this." I can't think of any. It reminds me in a way like a lot of Italian giallo films will be more elevated and they'll feel like this with the camera movement and the cinematography and the focus on themes and music, but they're not like fun like a slasher is. They're not slasher movies. There's just something different about the way Italian giallos are. They influence slashers, and it kind of led to the slasher. But I think it's the most, I'll say it again, it's the most elevated slasher film ever made. It's one of the best. It's definitely one of the best A24 movies ever come out too. It's really unique,
Agreed.
really different.
From
But
my slasher film reference, I would definitely agree with you. Yeah, and another A24 banger, a trusted brand, right?
oh my god, I mean, for me, I mean, there's a lot that I haven't seen, but I think they're the best doing it. I think
Yeah,
it's really hard to compare any of the other companies out there with the consistency of the high level horror films that they're making and the type of shit that I dig and can like recommend to a lot of anybody. You know what I mean?
yeah,
There's a lot of movies like I'm trying, like I love a large chunk of these things and like trying to find people to do episodes with. I'm like, he would like that, he would like that, but everybody would like a lot of the not everybody, but most people are gonna like this. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Most people that I'm friends with are probably going to enjoy this.
No, it's always good to see that
Hell
graphic
yeah,
come
man.
up at the beginning of the film. Yeah,
No, I know, I know. But all right, A for me, A for you. You guys watching on the premiere, you gave it something. I super appreciate you hanging out with us. Put your grades down below, hit the like button, sub up, and then
appreciate
next
y'all.
week, hell yeah. Next week, I gotta think of what we're doing. I know what we're doing. I got Stu coming back. I got Link coming back. Probably Fable. I don't know. I haven't confirmed him, but I got the crew coming back. We're gonna be doing a live stream on Thursday, the 22nd on VHS, which is a film I've never seen. It's one of the more popular horror anthology franchises, and I think the only found footage horror anthology franchise that I can think of. I don't know. I haven't seen too many found footage anthologies, which makes it pretty unique. So I'm excited to check it out. I'm excited to get
Oh
together
yeah.
with the crew to talk about it. But Stu, you got Supreme Clientele on Tuesday nights. You got anything specific you want to say? Got coming
No,
up?
man. Yeah, Tuesday nights at 9. Over on the Doctor Doom's Fan Club YouTube channel. Come check us out. Uh, what we're watching, comics new and old, all sorts of good stuff. So yeah, me and Link every Tuesday night at 9 over on the Dr. Doom's Fan Club YouTube channel. Come check us out.
Booyah. And of course, go check out Blame Fable is Amazing Friends Friday nights, 9 Eastern time.
Yep.
Stu now co-hosting with other friend of the show, Nick from Comic Culture. A lot of the gang is always on there. We got Robbie doing PCP movie nights on Monday night. And again, it's getting hard for me to figure out when the hell this is coming out and where it'll be. But I'm there like all month long on February. I'm going to be on Pop Culture Philosophers almost every Monday night. I'm stoked for it. But I appreciate everybody, and we'll see you next time.
Peace.